Welcome to the deep dive. Okay, so you sent us your sources, and we're here ready to pull out those key nuggets of knowledge.
Yeah, give you the inside track without drowning you in detail.
Exactly. We try to make it efficient, maybe find a few surprising things, have a bit of a chuckle along the way.
And today we're diving into excerpts from Doctor Who, The Hollow Men, Keith Topping and Martin Day.
Right. BBC books, published back in '98.
And you can tell it's going to be a bit unusual right from the acknowledgments.
Oh, yeah. How so?
Well, they mention Jeff Hart's theme music, underworld lyrics, even biblical quotes. It sort of signals this eclectic mix right from the start, maybe a bit unsettling.
Okay, I like the sound of that. So our mission for this deep dive, then, is to kind of unpack the mysteries in these excerpts you shared.
Yeah, focusing on Hexen Bridge, the village, and this figure, Jack in the Green.
And it's that mix you mentioned, isn't it? The really mundane, everyday stuff right alongside the totally bizarre.
Precisely. That's what makes it interesting.
Okay, let's get digging then. Where do we start?
We start in a tavern, foul night apparently, and this tall stranger walks in.
Okay.
He's got a pockmarked face, these really cold blue eyes, and straight away, a local guy, Long John, he reacts strongly.
Like he knows him?
Yeah.
Or just bad vibes?
It feels like bad vibes. The innkeeper, Tom Spence, he's uneasy too. You get this immediate tension.
And it doesn't stop there, right? Someone else arrives.
Correct. Another guy, Joseph Jowett, even taller, piercing green eyes, and he announces his master is coming.
Okay, intrigue building.
And then you get this whispered reveal. Jowett's master is Judge Jeffries.
The Judge Jeffries. Wow, okay. That name carries weight.
Huge weight. And what's fascinating is the contrast in how he was seen.
Right, because in London, some saw him as, charming? A figure of authority.
Exactly. Restoring order, that kind of thing. But head down to the southwest.
Oh, yeah. Bloody Assizes territory.
Total terror. Titus Oates, Richard Baxter. People associate him with murder, brutality. It's this stark duality.
That really sets a tone, doesn't it?
Right.
The idea of a hidden, darker reality beneath the surface, which seems very Hexen Bridge.
Absolutely. And even Jeffries himself isn't immune to the place. The excerpts say he has disturbing dreams there.
So the place of Hexen, too.
Seems like it. He accepts it with this grim sort of resignation, like it's unavoidable.
And there's that image of him by the fire, wig off.
Yeah, like a little bald-headed imp, a powerful man diminished. It's quite striking.
And the mood darkens even further, pretty quickly, right?
Whoa.
There's that scene.
Oh, yeah. Brutal. Villagers forced into a pit. Jeffries giving orders, just cold.
The details are rough. Weeping women, someone kicked back
Oh,
down.
yeah. The ground soaked red. It's visceral, historical horror.
But then Zhao, Jeffrey's own man, he feels something more.
He does. He senses something hungry in the ground where the men died. His companion, Richard, just dismisses it, calls him weak.
But it's a hint, isn't it? Maybe it's not just human cruelty at play here, something else.
Exactly. Is it just the horror of the scene, or is the land itself tainted? The author plants that seed early on.
And from that grounded horror, we jump somewhere else entirely. That cornfield sequence.
Yeah, it's a real shift. Suddenly feels very dreamlike, almost surreal.
A man in uniform running through this endless cornfield.
And the description is so unsettling. The corn seems to have eyes.
Creepy.
And whatever's chasing him, it's quiet. Like a breeze or rat's feet. That kind of disturbing quietness.
And he's desperately trying to clean his uniform, like it'll help him hide.
Yeah, that desperate act. And then he just fall into the earth.
It's pure nightmare fuel, that scene.
Really effective. It shifts us from historical brutality to something more psychological, maybe supernatural.
And that contrast continues when we land at Hexen Bridge School.
Right. There's a boy, Shanks, and he's bothered by music, Elgar, specifically.
And then he meets someone. Tall man, Scottish accent. Sounds familiar.
Likely our returning friend. And he makes this comment about the quiet letting you hear the past.
Ooh, interesting. Echoes Jowett's feeling about the ground almost.
It does. Suggests a sensitivity to the place's history, its resonance.
And he picks up on Shank straight away, doesn't he? The single name, the nightmares.
Yeah, he suggests a walk because of troublesome sleep. It implies this uncanny insight.
And calls him an outsider, which in Hexen Bridge seems significant.
Very significant. Being different there marks you out.
Then we get Ace arriving.
Yeah.
With him again in the police box.
Yep. And Ace immediately dislikes the countryside. Complete opposite of him.
He seems quite fond of it, finding that four-leaved clover.
And Ace is just like, yeah, right, luck. Very grounded, very skeptical, which is classic Ace.
But then Hexen Bridge triggers something in her, right? A memory.
A childhood fear, yeah, about Jack in the Green. And her dad reacted really strongly when she mentioned it.
So that's our first direct mention of the name. Tied to fear, family secrets.
Sets up the central mystery nicely.
Then they're at the school reunion. He seems a bit distracted.
Yeah, preoccupied. While Ace runs into this old man who just hates Hexen Bridge, calls the locals Hexies.
Hexies, wow.
And he hints at terrible things happening there. Meanwhile, the doctor's just sort of vaguely observing the kids are bright. It's such a disconnect.
That contrast again between the visceral hatred and the almost detached observation.
Exactly. Underscores the village's weirdness. And then they go to this Chinese restaurant.
Which is strange in itself, right? In a village like Hexen Bridge.
Ace is surprised it's even there and completely empty. His response is just pragmatic, like, well, here we are.
And the owner, Stephen Chen, greets them.
Very somberly. And he mentions his family being outsiders even after 20 years.
Yeah.
Because everyone else's roots go back centuries.
Reinforces that insular, closed-off feeling. Hard to break in.
Definitely. Then we get a quick look at Rebecca and Trevor meeting up before the reunion.
They seem close. Comfortable silence, affectionate greeting.
Yeah, there's history there.
Yeah.
Trevor's thinking about how beautiful she still is, his past feelings. Mentions a hard, cruel lesson in Victoria.
Hints of lost love, maybe.
Sure.
Shared past, definitely.
Seems like it. And their chat about the reunion business or pleasure, and the gossip about locals. Hatched, matched, and dispatched.
Paints that picture of a tight-knit community, maybe a bit suffocating.
Very much so. And amidst all this, Stephen Chen approaches the doctor again.
Nervously, right. Asking him to deliver a message.
To Matson's wife. Stephen's clearly scared of Matson.
And Ace jumps in.
Yep. Strong dislike of fascists, she says. Just adds another layer of tension to the mix.
Which leads us to trouble at the shop. Billy Tiley.
Yeah, him and his mates trying to steal from Mrs. Clouet. Billy's behavior is pretty menacing.
Suggests something's not right with the youth there either. It's all connected.
Seems to be. And the threads keep tangling. Next, Trevor's driving with Hatch and the doctor.
And Kenny Shanks turns up with a gun.
Exactly. Points it right at the doctor. Demands a joke, bizarrely.
A joke. While holding a gun. Weird.
Yeah.
Hatch is tense, obviously.
Very. And then Shanks recognizes the doctor. Says something about meeting before.
Implying it wasn't pleasant.
Definitely not. The doctor tries humor, but it feels strained. Dangerous situation.
And then things take a really dark turn. The abduction.
Yeah, masked intruders, old couple terrified. They take their son, William Tiley.
And the leader says something like, "Your son has been chosen."
Chilling, isn't it? Adds this ritualistic, almost cult-like feel to it.
Billy screams as they drag him off. Ace, hearing it and realizing this is real terror. That's properly disturbing.
It really ramps up the stakes. And the aftermath is telling, too. Rebecca confronts Hatch about the screams.
And he's just casual about it.
Disturbingly casual, dismissive, shows his cruelty, and Rebecca sees it clearly.
Ace is doing some exploring, too, isn't she, at the churchyard?
Yeah, looking at the war memorial, noting names, dates, PVT, Daniel Burridge, S.G. Thomas Baber, grounding the story in that local history.
Baber, related to the vicar.
Seems likely. Then she visits the vicarage. Initially thinks the vicar seems harsh, but Rebecca says he's actually tolerant. Another contradiction. Makes you wonder what's really going on with him.
And then Ace finds something. In the school books?
The handwriting. She notices it's identical. Not just similar, but exactly the same, across different students' work.
Whoa. Okay, that's not normal.
Not at all. Rebecca initially dismisses it, then realizes Ace means all of it. It strongly suggests some kind of external control or influence.
Like mind control. Or something else.
Doesn't say yet, but it's deeply weird. Then we get Hatch back at his old school.
Feeling that suffocating pressure of heritage.
Yeah. And he meets a tall figure in old clothes.
Jack in the Green?
Looks like it. They have this cryptic chat about research. Jack seems impatient. Hints at a bigger plan.
And Vicar Baber's sermon kind of reflects the village's state, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. He talks about inner turmoil, delinquency, brutality, infidelity, racism. Paints a bleak picture.
And he seems to be looking at specific people as he says it.
Yeah, pointed glances, making it personal. But he's struggling internally, too. There's an answer he feels he can't speak.
Fear? Or is he part of it?
Good question. Seems like something's holding him back.
Then Hatch meets Trevor in the library. More plotting.
Looks like it. Trevor smoking, breaking the rules. They talk about dealing with someone. Trevor seems uninterested in the details, just wants it done.
Cold. And then Trevor meets Rebecca secretly.
Yeah, secluded meeting. He's armed. She teases him about it.
Their relationship is complicated.
Very. They kiss, but then it's straight back to business, whatever that involves.
And Ace is keeping watch.
Yeah.
Sees someone shady near the Chinese restaurant.
Yep. Sense of constant hidden movement, hidden agendas. She tries to get into the school later at night.
But gets blocked.
Locked door, dismissive caretaker, the village closing ranks against outsiders.
And then the TARDIS, surrounded by scarecrows.
Motionless scarecrows, blocking her way. It's such a creepy, bizarre image, properly Doctor Who.
Definitely blurs that line between folk horror and something else.
Then quick flashes the Doctor dreaming, the Matsons having a huge row at the restaurant.
Just adding to the general chaos and dysfunction.
Pretty much. Ace delivers Stephen Chen's note, and he gets really secretive.
And says something disturbing about interbreeding.
Yeah, the effects of it in Hexen Bridge, leading to something unbelievable about the pupils.
Connects back to the handwriting. The weirdness at the school.
Seems very likely. Suggests a long-term, possibly genetic manipulation going on.
Then more politics Tara Hatch introduced. Matthew Hatch having trouble suspecting Rebecca of betrayal.
Adds another layer of intrigue. Personal conflicts mixing with the bigger mystery.
And Ace tries to get into the church records. With Baber.
Yeah, clever tactic. Pretending to research for the Doctor's book.
Baber's reluctant.
Initially, yeah. But Ace persuades him, and she finds this column in the registers.
Marking people who've left the village. With recent dates.
Exactly. A recent entry catches her eye. Baber gets super evasive, cuts the beating short.
He definitely knows something he's not sharing.
Oh, absolutely. Then a quick-cut radio interview. Sounds like Denman talking about crime ringleaders.
Contrasted with Nicola Denman talking to a priest.
Yeah, about her strict father, her mother's death. Glimpses of lives outside, but possibly connected.
And someone breaks into Rebecca's room while she's teaching. Burge.
Yeah, just adds to the sense of violation and tension. Plus a quick shot of Hatch being aggressive in Parliament. Ruthless.
And Hatch is off to the Welton Clinic. Secretive instructions to his driver.
Very secretive. Worried about his wife calling. Rushes into an office there. What's he hiding?
Good question. Meanwhile, the Doctor's piecing things together.
Yeah, sees the universe as a jigsaw, Hexen Bridge as this key, inaccessible piece.
Realizes there has to be more to the Shanks connection than just school.
Right. Finds a computer terminal, making progress.
But then Shanks confronts him. Violently.
Seems like it. Fleck of blood on Shanks's face. Says he'll put the Doctor to good use. Very menacing.
And Ace is back in the graveyard with Stephen Chen.
Yeah, Stephen's terrified. Ace is maybe a bit blunt about it.
But they break into the crypt.
Putty on the lock, old school. And they find old photos.
Showing what?
This dark stain on the land around the village, growing over decades. Looking like dark arms by the end.
Whoa. Okay, that's intensely creepy visual evidence.
Definitely suggests this long-term, encroaching evil. Meanwhile, the Doctor's captive.
In a nightclub. With explosives strapped to him.
Yep. And Shanks's voice is in his head, can see his movements, total control, utter vulnerability.
That's terrifying. And Ace and Steven see more weirdness.
The fields where scarecrows should be now have wooden crosses instead. In that shadowy area, they decide they need to get out.
Smart move. Back in the club, the Doctor's trying something.
Yeah, desperately looking for someone. Bumps into her, gives her an imaginary parcel. Very strange.
Trying to pass something, a message, a device.
Seems likely. Bouncer looks suspicious. He tries to disarm the bomb. Seems to succeed.
Yeah.
Shanks just chuckles in his head, mocking him. It was a fake out, or Shanks is still in control.
Oh, man. Okay, elsewhere, Burge is trying to call Hatch.
Bad signal. Wanders into an overgrown garden. Minor detail, but feels ominous.
And there's another confrontation. A group holding someone captive.
Yeah, very callous, violent intentions. While Stephen and Ace are arguing about the photos, whether to tell Baber.
And then they see it at the church door.
The stickman. Once human, now filled with straw. Horrifying confirmation.
It's awful. Then Nicola Denman gets arrested.
Worried about her dad finding out. Police questioning her about drugs. A man in a white suit. She's not talking.
Caught up in something big. The Doctor tries to talk to the police about Shanks, hoping to see Denman.
Right. Nicola's getting rough treatment in her cell. Decides she has to do something.
And the Doctor explains about Shanks, his lost device. and then asks Denman that question.
Are you sterile, Mr. Denman? Out of absolutely nowhere.
What could that possibly mean linked to the interbreeding?
Has to be, right? Some kind of genetic element to Shanks's or Jack's plan. Very disturbing implication.
Denman clearly doesn't want to talk about Jack.
No. Mentions a controlling force in the green. The legend of the Hollow Men, the Scarecrows, finally confirming the supernatural link for Denman.
And the doctor warns him, Shanks is planning a war.
Raises the stakes massively. It's not just Hexen Bridge anymore. Ace and Steven see another straw man in the graveyard. Danger is everywhere.
Denman breaks into an office.
While questioning the doctor about Shanks's motives leads to the doctor's horrible suspicions about Shanks the scientist.
Another reservoir.
Yeah. Suggests looking at the purification plant, a potential bioweapon, contamination.
They get there, see Shanks' car. Denman decides to go in, orders or no orders.
Personal now. Their entry is creative.
The piggyback ride.
Yeah, bypass the alarm, a brief moment of absurdity before the inevitable confrontation.
Shanks knew they were coming. Sensors.
Yep. And he taunts Denman about his child. Pure cruelty.
Then the fight.
Yeah.
Denman versus Shanks. The doctor shuts off a vat.
It's brutal. Shanks is vicious, but Denman manages to send him falling from the walkway.
Is he? Gone.
Seems like it, for now. Denman's reaction is bitter laughter.
And he's off to investigate a bombed BSE lab. Suspects Hatch and Shanks were linked.
Yeah, thinks there's a wider conspiracy. He leaves the doctor there, following his own lead.
Meanwhile, the Matsons wake up. After their argument.
Joanna's conflicted. Bob comes back, looking rough. Says Jack expelled him.
Expelled, like physically thrown out by some force.
Sounds like it. Adds to the supernatural evidence.
The doctor hitches a ride. Steve and Joanna talk by the war memorial.
Still that tension between them. Joanna suggests they stop seeing each other for a bit. Steven sees something flicker on the hillside. The weirdness continues.
And Bob Matson sees them together. Through binoculars.
Oh, dear. Jealous rage boils over. He's got that Molotov cocktail. Heading for the Chinese restaurant?
Not good.
Yeah.
The doctor arrives in London in a vintage car. Denman follows.
Right. Their paths converge again, heading for Hatch.
Then that description of London.
Yeah.
Rubbish piling up, smell of death.
Yeah, mirrors the decay in Hexen Bridge. Like the corruption is spreading, contrasted with those kids in the car, oblivious, listening to loud music.
News reports of violence elsewhere. The doctor watching Hatch's house.
Knows it's guarded, planning his move.
And Bob Matson is about to do something stupid and dangerous.
Yeah, preparing the vodka Molotov. Focused on revenge against Stephen Chen.
The doctor confronts Trevor, directly accuses him about the water pollution scheme with Shanks.
Trevor denies it, of course. Legitimate businessman, arms trader, completely amoral.
Doctor tries to appeal to his past. Doesn't work.
Nope, too far gone. Then Denman arrives and just loses it.
Attacks Trevor.
Yeah.
Because of Nicola.
Yeah, blames him, his kind, for her suicide. Raw grief and anger. Doctor has to step in.
Heavy stuff. Matson's paranoia is getting worse out in the dark.
Thinks he's being followed, losing his grip.
Rebecca and Hatch have another sharp exchange. Reveals their cynicism.
Yeah, contrasting views but shared darkness. Hatch's comment about needing a good call. Truly chilling.
And then Rebecca refuses his demands. Feels unwell.
And Hatch calmly admits he drugged her coffee. Calculated cold control. Horrifying.
Just pure evil. Then Ace talks to Baber about Matson's photos.
And Baber reveals Matson was trying to warn people about Jack. Through the pictures. Couldn't speak openly.
Because of village tradition. Jack's influence.
Exactly. And then Baber drops the bombshell.
What is it?
The vicar of Hexen Bridge is one of Jack's children.
What? His own father? Metaphorically?
It sounds literal. A deep, perhaps unwilling connection to the entity.
Wow. Okay. Things keep getting weirder. Don Tiley in the pub.
Here's thumps. Finds a hidden trap door. Cellar, tunnel underneath.
Secret passages. Connected to Jack.
Seems very likely. Tiley flees in terror, screaming.
But Ace and Steven misunderstand. Think he's just drunk or something. Still focused on the school.
Yeah, they missed the clue. Baber, meanwhile, is prying in the church. Utter despair.
Feels forsaken. Loss of faith. The dark night of the soul.
Sees the window covering, twitching again. Picks up that shard of glass. A memory starts, but gets cut off.
Frustrating. What does he remember?
We don't find out yet. The doctor suddenly needs to talk to Hatch. A shift in plan.
Ace feels bad about hitting Joanna. Joanna explains her outburst. Steven's just frustrated, tension's high.
Understandable. The doctor confronts Hatch directly. Demands to speak to Jack.
And Hatch changes.
Instantly. persona shifts.
Hmm.
The doctor recognizes Jack's presence. Denman blurts something out. Doctor shuts him down. He knows who he's dealing with.
Intense. What happens after?
Trevor comforts Rebecca. Hatch's people question the doctor. Bevan suggests multiple personalities.
Doctor dismisses that.
Immediately, Denman wakes up, wants to go after Hatch. Doctor reveals they were out for 2 hours. Shows Jack's power.
2 hours. Just like that.
Yeah. Then the doctor explains his history with the place. Jane Hampton, the school board, the Malus in 71.
He suspected a link to Hatch's psychic powers even back then.
Yep. Trevor and Rebecca just remember Jane as an outsider. Doctor sums up Hexen Bridge. Insular, resistant to change.
And then we see Hatch, or Jack,
Yeah.
in the cavern.
Yeah.
Before the mirror.
And his reflection, it's not him, it's this shifting mess of faces, the souls Jack has consumed.
Oh, God. It's horrific.
Jack is hungry. Hatch promises to feed him. Total subservience.
And then the doctor reveals Jack's real origin.
Not a local legend. A malfunctioning Hecolian battle creature crash-landed there by mistake.
An alien war machine. That's why it's so powerful, so consuming.
Exactly. The Hecolians probably took one look at Earth, figured it was too tough, and left, leaving their broken weapon behind.
Wow. That changes everything. It's cosmic horror invading a small village.
Precisely. And they see it happening. Jack's tendrils spreading, consuming the village, scarecrows dragging Don Tiley.
Into the darkness. The car crashes trying to avoid them. Denman's hurt.
They pull him out, see Tiley dropped into Jack's maw, Ace and Joanna trapped in the restaurant, scarecrows breaking in.
Absolute chaos. The car's on fire. A scarecrow bursts into flames.
Spontaneously combusts. The doctor sees a weakness, tells the others to find fuel, wake Denman. He's got a plan.
Someone's knocking at the restaurant, claiming to be Baber.
Ace wants to open it, Stephen and Joanna terrified. Then the straw hand smashes through the glass.
That's not him.
Pure terror. Denman wakes up, disoriented. Trevor leads him and Rebecca to find fuel. Denman remembers his wife.
A moment of humanity amidst the horror. Rebecca spots more scarecrows. They find an abandoned one, a burnt Guy Fawkes effigy.
Which attacks Denman, the inanimate coming alive with malice.
While the doctor goes into the Green Man pub, follows butterflies.
Down to the cellar, into the tunnel, sensing Jack, reaches the cave with the mirror and steps through.
Into Jack's dimension. Rebecca's fighting the scarecrow attacking Denman.
Yeah, then this horrible imp-like creature rises up, pure vengeance in its eyes.
The doctor confronts Hatch-Jack, accuses him of the suffering caused.
Jack justifies it, sorting the wheat from the chaff, reveals his plan. Use Hatch's body to spread terror across the galaxy.
Cosmic threat confirmed. Doctor taunts him about needing Hatch's form. Jack threatens to consume him.
Suddenly, the pounding on the cellar door stops. Silence.
Stephen helps his family and Joanna out. They emerge into a quiet village. Meet Denman and others with torches. A lull in the storm.
Seems like it. Denman and the doctor decide their next move. Confront Jack at the pit. Stephen and Joanna insist on going to.
Stephen tells his parents, Ace, secure the restaurant. The black soil is spreading fast.
Stephen makes a run for it, towards the scarecrows, the alien mass. Denman follows.
Then the ground collapses under Trevor and Rebecca. They fall into a pit.
Injured, terrified. Then they hear Jack scream. All the scarecrows just stop, freeze.
Why? What happened?
Not clear yet. Trevor and Rebecca retreat into a tunnel.
The doctor's in that weird courtroom. Jeffrey's presiding. Baber there too.
Yeah, totally surreal. Jeffries demands a plea. Doctor's defiant, nonsensical, calls the jury criminals, accuses Jeffrey's Jack of cowardice.
Trying to destabilize Jack's mental construct, Jeffrey seems to question himself.
Yeah, a flicker of doubt. Long John's confused. Doctor makes this plea about the evil within, urging them to shine a light.
Trying to reach the trapped consciousnesses. He sees ghost riders.
Carrying Rebecca and Trevor. The huntsman throws Rebecca down brutally. Then the cavern collapses around Ace. Chaos storms, falling earth.
Doctor meets an angel. Amidst the destruction. What?
Bizarre, fleeting moment of calm. Then back to chaos. Villagers, scarecrows thrown around. One explodes. Lightning.
He sees Jowett, Witchard, Long John tossed about. Then the massive face in the sky. Jack.
Formed of decaying plants. Monstrous. He finds Rebecca, injured. Shouts his defiance at Jack. This ends now.
Then the voice. What do you? The ground rips open. Blackness for the doctor.
Hatch's final thoughts. Unity. Purpose.
Yeah.
Then just terror as Jack consumes him completely.
And then, aftermath. Doctor and Rebecca found in the rubble.
Doctor's very casual about it all, naturally. Denman's surrounded by bodies he doesn't know. Grim.
Doctor explains Jack Jarrett, the Hecolian war machine. The mirror as the conduit, the hunters as psychic extensions.
Explains why he and Rebecca were spewed out, stronger will, maybe alien nature. Says the butterflies weren't native either.
And confirms Jack's gone.
By grinding the mirror shard to dust, destroying the anchor.
So it's over. Emergency services arrive at the vicarage, UN soldiers.
Yeah, suggests that unit-like oversight. The doctor's cynical about the official cover-up. Says the village will keep its secrets. He leaves with Ace. Implies she won't be back.
Denman talks to Hill, resigned. Knows he'll face consequences for his actions.
Accepts it. Joanna stays with Trevor's parents. Bob Madsen reappears, disheveled.
Claiming Jack expelled him again. James wants a wash. Tentative reconciliation with Joanna. Fragile peace returning.
And the final scene. The doctor, the small man, back in the library, meets Kenny, the boy, again.
He's embarrassed. Like, he doesn't quite remember their earlier chat.
Yeah, suggests memory loss or maybe a time loop element. Kenny remembers being told he was important. Calls it the most frightening thing in the world.
Chilling final note. Leaves you wondering.
Absolutely. A deep, unsettling mark left on him and maybe on the village.
So, wrapping up this deep dive into the Hollow Men, what really stands out, that atmosphere, right? Hexen Bridge felt so oppressive.
Definitely. The influence of Jack and the Green, that mix of historical horror, folk horror, and then the sci-fi twist.
Yeah, and themes of community, isolation, the darkness hiding inside.
Mm-hmm.
It really explored all that.
The origin of Jack as an alien war machine was a huge surprise, wasn't it?
Totally reframed it.
Hmm.
And the scarecrows being more than just straw, the weird connections between everyone.
Yeah.
It was complex.
Makes you think, as you said. What unseen histories or forces shape our own places?
Are there metaphorical Jacks lurking in our own communities? That balance between tradition, progress, and the darkness underneath.
It's a powerful thought to end on. What might be hidden just below the surface of the familiar?
Indeed. Well, that brings us to the end of this particular exploration.
As always, if you have source material you think we should tackle, send it over. We're always ready for the next deep dive.